That's right!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the last part of my Forged in the Barrens card review. So my ass was super busy the past couple days, so I didn't get the opportunity to record a video for all of the cards that came out before the reveal stream today. So today you guys are going to get a super long one to make up for it, to cover the last like 80, 90 cards. It's going to be a long one, so to help you guys through it, I've gone through them by class and neutral, and I've divided them up into chapters, so you guys should be able to click on the video to see, you know, whatever class that you're the most interested in, or feel free to listen to it on like 2x speed so that you guys can get what I'm saying, you know, without having to sit there for like an hour. But if you guys do watch through the entire thing, I do appreciate you guys a ton, and so I hope you guys enjoy, and of course, as you guys are listening through, make sure you guys make comments about the cards that you agree with me, disagree with me about, or some interactions that I might have missed. Please let me know down in the comments below. Alright, I hope you guys enjoy this huge card review for Forged in the Barrens. So Demon Hunter looking like they're getting some Death Rattle synergy as their main like thing that's being pushed. So look at Razor Board. Razor Board, 2 mana, 2/2 Beast. Death Rattle, summon a Death Rattle minion that costs 3 or less from your hand. So not odd. So probably not good enough, but the whole Death Rattle vibe they have going on is Death Rattles that replace themselves with stuff from your hand, which is kind of cool, right? It's a unique style of Death Rattle. But yeah, Razor Boar, it's not odd, so probably not going to see a ton of play currently, and I don't think it's strong enough to want to push a Death Rattle style Demon Hunter that's not odd, given that the big payoff is odd anyways. Next up we have Vile Call. Summon 2 2/2 demons with lifesteal. So this is odd costed, so we'll actually take a look at it. But I don't want 3 mana summon a 4/4. Especially with 2/2s. 2/2s are just not good enough right now in the format because of stuff like Odd Rogue and Odd Demon Hunter and Ship's Cannon. So probably don't want this. So next up we've got Fury. So Fury is a 1 mana upgradable spell. I'm never going to get used to saying that. So for 1 mana, give your hero +2 attack this turn. It upgrades to +4 and then +6, I believe. Oh, it's to +3, +4. Okay, that sucks. So it's like worse than Twin Slice. The question is, do you ever want this in addition to Twin Slice? And with some of the new minions and weapons that we've seen, I kind of don't want to. So no, it's not better than Twin Slice. It doesn't replace it on that list, and I don't think you want both, so I don't think it's going to see a ton of play. Next up is a really cool weapon, Tusk Piercer. So this is a 1 mana 1/2 weapon with Death Rattle, draw a Death Rattle minion. So with stuff like Leper Gnome being unnerved, Albatross being a card, what is the Urzul Horror, potentially some of the 3/3, like if you want to run the Death Rattle Demon Hunter, I think you run Tusk Piercer. So like if you're running the 7-drop with some 3-drop and 5-drop Death Rattles, I think you still want this. If you're playing the super low curve Odd Demon Hunter with stuff like Leper Gnomes and Urzul Horror, you probably want this. So I'm a big fan of it. I think it's going to see play. I think this is a very good weapon. Like the more card draw you can shove in on Demon Hunter, the better, right? And especially card draw that doesn't give up a ton of tempo, like Acrobatics kind of does. So yeah, I think Tusk Piercer is good. You should definitely experiment it with it in both versions of Demon Hunter, right? Both the lower curve and the higher curve Odd Demon Hunters. Next up we have a Vengeful Spirit. 4 mana 4/4 Outcast. Draw 2 Death Rattle minions. 4 mana 4/4 draw 2. It's pretty good, but it's even costed. So, oof. Alright, so next up we have Sigil of Silence. This is a control Demon Hunter tool, so can we just like skip it? It's not going to see play in Wild, so yeah. Nope. Same thing with Sigil of Flame. It's a controlled Demon Hunter tool. XT. I don't remember if we've talked about Razorfront Beastmaster or not in a previous card review, but let's go ahead and talk about it here. 3 mana 3/3, summon a Death Rattle minion that costs 4 or less from your hand. So it's probably a fine pull off of the Death Speaker Blackthorn, because it probably pulls what, Albatross. It cheats out Leper Gnomes, like it cheats out Urzul Horrors. Like it's not great, but if you're doing a little bit of Death Rattle synergy, like why not, right? Unless you're going for something like very specific with your Blackthorn, or your Tusk Piercer, I think is the name, then like maybe you still run it. The question is like, how many slots do you have in these Odd Demon Hunter builds? And like, how much do you want to commit to Death Rattle synergy? I don't know. I don't know. I wish this was like 5 or less. That would be probably insane. That'd actually be really insane, which is probably why it's 4 or less. But yeah, I think this is a fine card. I don't know if it's good enough to force its way into the list, but definitely something worth trying. So yeah, so as a whole, I mean, the Demon Hunter, they got some toys, right? All the even stuff you can kind of ignore, but between like Tusks, Piercer, Blackthorn, the 3-drop, and this off of Illidari's Studies, like the Death Battle package is potentially worth running in Odd Demon Hunter. I think Blackthorn is the reason you look at something like a slower Odd Demon Hunter list, because it is that powerful. All right, so yeah, that's kind of it for Demon Hunter. All right, so moving on to Druid. Druid has gotten some absolutely insane cards, and a lot of cards since the last time we did a card review. And we're going to start off with maybe the most insane of them all, Celestial Alignment, a 7-mana arcane spell for Druid. Set each player to 0 mana crystals. Set the cost of cards in all hands and decks to 1. Yeah, you can do some pretty broken things in this deck. So Hijo has already kind of done one version of breaking this card, where you play Loatheb, you bloom out a Celestial Alignment. Celestial Alignment, hey, that change that they made all those years ago for some unknown reason means that stuff like Molten Giant and Sea Giant and Clockwork Giant all cost 1. And then all you have to have done is lost 1 life. Or your opponent has to have 1 card in hand, and then those are 0 mana giants under a Loatheb effect, and your opponent has 1 mana. But with Loatheb, they can't play any spells. Oh my god. Naga Druid 2.0, yeah? Yeah, seems pretty strong. We're not sure whether you keep mana crystals from stuff like Bloom or Lightning Bloom or Biology Project or Innervates. If you do, this card gets even better. Like, it gets way better, and it might be good enough to just like run in straight up normal Druid decks, because you can play Celestial Alignment into 1 mana UI or Celestial Alignment into Aviana Kun and do dumb things. So, like, Aviana Kun probably doesn't work with this, right? Because you're setting yourself to 0, so Kun would refresh 0 crystals. Never mind. Don't do that. But what you could do is you could do Aviana Kun, play all your cards, play a Yassil, and then play this, and then your opponent can't answer. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this card just seems like it's asking to be broken into the format, and it sounds like it might have already been broken. Yeah, look forward to seeing a lot of this, in combination with the new card that Druid got. Druid looking like it's getting a massive buff with just this 1 card. So yeah, Celestial Alignment. Looks like it's going to be fun if you enjoy playing combo decks. Alright, next up is Thickhide Kodo, 4-mana 3/5 Beast with Taunt. Death Battle, gain 5 armor. So I would say this is a nice card off of Oaken Summons. And then I saw a neutral that was printed. So this is probably only going to see play in some of the lower power level decks like Taunt Druid, or like me. Honestly, I don't even know if this makes the cut in Taunt Druid, because you have some other really broken stuff that you can run instead now. But this is probably actually just really good in Beast Druid, and that's like the only place. Like the mid-rangey Beast Druid that's trying to take advantage of the newly buffed Menagerie Warden probably really likes this card. But outside of Beast Druid, there's very little reason to play Thickhide Kodo. So if you're a more competitively focused player, don't worry about this card. But if you want to play some Beast Druid, it seems like a pretty good inclusion. Alright, so Thorngrove Sentries, it reminds me of this card called Dreamway Guardians, I believe. It's 2 mana, summon 2 1/2 minions with lifesteal. It's very similar, right? Taunt instead of lifesteal, but the Dreamway Guardian spell was never anywhere close to being played, like even in Token Druid that we have now. And so I don't think this is gonna see play, right? Pretty much 100% certain that this is not gonna see play. Next up is Pride's Fury. 4-mana spell, give your minions +1/+3, which is really, really nice. The problem is this costs 4 mana, and I don't want to pay 4 mana for my buff spells unless it's killing my opponent, like Branching Pass, and Branching Pass is also flexible, or developing minions alongside it, right, like Arbor Up. So not a big fan. don't really think this is gonna have a room or a place in Wild Token Druid, so I'm gonna pass on this one as well. All right, next up we have Plague Maw the Rotting, 4 mana 3/4. After a friendly minion with taunt dies, summon a new copy of it without taunt. So it's a super unique effect, super cool. The problem is that it costs 4 mana, and so it's not gonna see play because if you're playing taunt, if you're playing any type of slower Druid deck, you need Oaken Summons. It's just you're trolling if you're not running Oaken Summons. And so, competitively, this just can't see play at 4 mana. I know there's cute synergy with Greybow and it's like Kartut Defender and stuff like that, but like this, because it costs 4, you can't play it. It's just not going to be good enough. Like Taunt Druid needs Oaken Summons for those huge taunts, and so Plague Maw the Rotting, while a cute, I guess I can't call him cute because he doesn't look very cute, but it's a cute synergy, but it's not going to be good enough for Wild. So yeah, so Razormaw Battleguard, if you're running the slower Taunt Druid list, you probably don't want Razormane in there because of the same reason we were just talking about with Oaken Summons. But Corbett brought up this idea of like, what if you run just like a lower curve aggro Taunt Druid, which sounds really, really weird to say, and you would still run stuff like Arbor Up and everything like that, but cheating mana is strong, guys. Like, if you can play this on 2 and have it live, right? And then you just get to play top minions for, like, 1-2 mana. And you get to play, like, 2 of them a turn. Like, there's potential there, yeah. But in the current state of things, not going to see play. All right, unless somebody breaks the meta with, like, an aggro taunt druid, like, Theorycraft of some sort. Don't think it's good enough, and so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next card. Let's talk about Guff Rune Totem, 3 mana 2/4. After you cast a nature spell, give a friendly minion +2/+2. So Guff Rune Totem, when I initially was looking at this card, I was very interested in running this in something like the spell Token Druid, because Innervates, Solar Eclipse, Lunar Eclipse, those are all, like, nature spells. And so the ability to do, you know, a Gibberling turn with this while buffing your Gibberlings to get out of removal range sounds like the dream. So, like, that's one route you can take it. Like, I think you can run this in the, like, spell Token Druids with Gibberlings. I don't know what the cut is. I have to take a look at the list, but like, I think there's a lot of potential there, but you also have to retake a look at running the Oaken Summons package, because they printed a neutral card that's kind of absolutely busted that might push you to want to run the Oaken Summons package as well. So yeah, I mean, Guff Rune Totem, I think you definitely take a hard look at this card in the spell Token Druids. Not sure if it's good enough for stuff like Jade Druids. Like, it doesn't outclass Oaken Summons in other decks, so probably not worth it there. But yeah, I'm excited for Guff, and I'm definitely going to be playing some of my favorite deck with this card in it. So happy to see him. All right, let's talk Mark of the Spike Shell. Give a minion +2/+2 for 2 mana. If it has Taunt, add a copy of it to your hand. So, I mean, this is the card that would go with the 2 mana 2/3. The first Taunt costs 2 less each turn. So, like, if you're playing that aggro Taunt Druid style of build, you definitely want this in there. It's like one of the payoff cards. And so definitely something to worth Theorycraft, right? I'm thinking about Embiggens, okay? So just like normal aggro Druid, you run Embiggens with Pirates, and then you run Taunts, and then you can cheat out Taunts with this 2 mana 2/3, and then you can play like free 0 mana 3/4 Annoyatrons or Wax Elementals or stuff like that, and then buff them up. So it actually sounds like a legitimate deck, which is kind of crazy, right? But I think you definitely take a look at this. Like, this card wants to go in that deck because it's one of your payoffs. And last but not least for Druid, we have Living Seed. This is a 2 mana nature spell. Draw a beast, reduce its cost by 1. And I believe the upgrades are reduced by 2 and reduced by 3. So it's worth, petting, what's it called pet in Hunter? So it's worse. Worse than Call Pet, but it's in Druid and not Hunter. So, like, maybe it's viable. Like, I hate to keep shitting on Hunter, but, like, it's true. So I think what you're actually looking to do this in is, like, if you're playing a Taunt Druid that only runs Hadronox as your beast, you probably want this card. Or, like, you're running only 3 beast, right? If you're running Winged Guardians and then this, you could totally get away with running Living Seed as, like, a way to tutor your beast. And so yeah, I mean, I could totally see it seeing play for sure. Like, I'm just trying to imagine this Taunt Druid now. You get Oaken with the 5/10 taunts, you get Winged Guardian, you get Ziliax, you get Kartuts, you get Hadro. I'm a fan. The more I think about this card, the more I am a fan of it, like, specifically in Taunt Druid. Taunt Druid is, again, Taunt Druid's not a good... Taunt Druid's not good, but with stuff like Living Seed, and I can see it, you know, getting better, and I'm excited to try it out again. Alright, so yeah, all in all, Druid got some pretty powerful stuff, right? It got some Taunt Druid and Token Druid style support. It also got some Nature Spell support, which I think incidentally is Token Druid support. But I think the big winner here is Celestial Alignment for Druid. This card just seems like it's going to be broken. Absolutely broken in our format. Man, ever since they made that change, I don't remember what specific patch that was, but when they made the giants and the discounts, ever since they made that change, shit's always been broken. and this is just like the next iteration of breaking that card. But yeah, Celestial Alignment, on first glance, right? First day of Theory Crafts, looks like it's going to be Naga Druid 2.0. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's going to be Naga Giant 2.0, and people are going to absolutely hate losing to it. So yeah, great things to come already out of Druid. Excited. So yeah, let's talk about Hunter. Hunter needing a lot of love, and so let's give it to it. Warsong Wrangler, 4-mana 3/4, Battlecry, discover a beast in your deck, give all copies of it +2/+1 wherever they are. So right now, the only place that I can see this ever seeing play, like, I don't think this is good enough with Sunscale Raptors. The only place this ever sees play is in that Unguro Quest Hunter that shuffles, like, what is it, 15, I believe, of the same card into your deck? Is that right? 15 3/2s? Something like that. And so this is, like, the only place that probably sees play, because they become, like, 1-mana 7/4s or 7/5s if you buff them twice. But yeah, I mean, I think this is just, like, not good enough, right? Like, you're not playing Dead Man's Hand Hunter. So, Warsong Wrangler, outside of Quest Hunter, probably not going to see play. Alright, next up we have Piercing Shot. 4-mana, deal 6 damage to a minion, excess damage hits the hero. This is just like rubbing it in, man. Rubbing it in. This is just like Explosive Runes, but like 30 times worse. So, oof. Got Pack Kodo, 3-mana 3/3 Beast. Battlecry, discover a beast, secret, or weapon. So the problem with this card is it's super slow. Like, I think it's a good card. Like, you'll get a random beast, a random secret, or a random weapon, and you choose the 3. So, I'm going to pass on it. It's probably an arena card. So we go next. Alright, Prospector's Caravan. 2-mana 1/3. At the start of your turn, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. So, I mean, it's a good card. Like, imagine if this was, like, in Paladin. Like, I think I would want this in Paladin, right? In Hunter? Oh, hand buff Hunter? Like, you have the 2-mana card, right? The 2-mana Don't Feed the Animals that I feel like is just better. So, like, in general, I think the Caravans are very slow in a format that's going to be dominated by Broomstick and Rush. So, like, it has to be really, really strong. And, like, this Caravan's a strong effect, just not in this class. And so, I don't think it's going to see a ton of play. Wound Prey. Deal 1 damage, summon a 1/1 hyena with Rush. Isn't this just... This is just, like, power crept... What is it? Hunters? Not Hunter's Mark. On the Hunt. It's power crept On the Hunt. Because On the Hunt just summoned a 1/1. This is 1-mana deal 1, summon a 1/1 with Rush. To be completely honest with you Mally Hunter? Does Mally Hunter need the extra damage though? Because they have Rapid Fire and Arcane Shots and Mally. and now you get this as well. I mean, you probably just run this over on the hunt in Melee, in Melee Hunter, and that's kind of it. That's like slight upgrade, and yeah. Tavish Stormpike. So we talked a little bit about this on the podcast, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. If you want more details about Tavish, feel free to check out the latest episode of The State of Wild, episode 37. But Tavish, I mean, I think the dreams of this card, doing the Oak Cart and pulling this and a Dark Moon Bunny, and then pulling a King Crush, and then pulling a 7/7 Devil Soar. I think that's a little bit unrealistic. I'm just thinking about this card and like just Beast Hunter, right? It's mana cheat. It's one of the few ways that Hunter has the ability to mana cheat, and so like I think you can just run this on like a slower mid-range Hunter or Beast Hunter, because you can do Tavish and then like Quarter Creeper into high main into the 5-drops, right? The Rhinos, the Trampling and the Tundra Rhinos. The big problem with this card is that it's not a beast itself, right? But between this and a couple of other cards that have been printed recently, there might be reason, especially since we have Starving Buzzard back, there might be a reason to cut Master's Call. I know that might be blasphemous, but it might be something that you think about, okay? Might be thinking about. But yeah, so outside of Beast Hunter, I also think that the slower builds that are like the big Beast Hunters, with like Katharina, that runs like double Devil Swords and stuff, that's probably the deck that can be good. And so like I think it's a card that's going to need some experimentation to figure out what kind of build works best, because we don't really have mana cheat, and it's like a mana cheat in Hunter we haven't never seen. So but I think it's something with potential and something to keep an eye on. So I don't think we've talked about Tame Beast yet, so let's talk about it here. It's 2 mana summon a 2/2 Beast with Rush, 2 mana summon a 4/4, 2 mana summon a 6/6 with Rush. They're technically different cards, right? Because the art's different, and technically the name's different. So like I don't even know if you want this in Reno Hunter with Zul'jin. And then Barrick Kodobane. This is the card that I'm actually like probably the most excited for in Hunter, because it's tutored card draw. 5 mana 3/5 3/5 Battle Cry, draw a 1/2 and 3 cost spell. Again, this is another card that we talked a lot about on the State of Wild, so again, recommend you just go back and check that out. But for Barrett Kodobane, I think there's 2 decks that you're looking at this in. Death Rattle Hunter, right? Because it draws you Feign Death, Play Dead, and 9 lives. And so you can do that in a Tonk Hunter build, or you can do it in a very aggressive Egg Hunter build. So very, very good in that. And I also think it's just kind of fine in Secret Hunter, just giving that deck more draw, because 1 mana Secret Plan or Tracking, 2 mana Secret, 3 mana Petting Zoo, kind of the big payoffs. I think this card is just really good. I'm a big fan of this one. Anytime you see card draw in Hunter, you have to be a little bit excited, because you don't get it very often. And this is pretty good card draw, so I'm excited for this one, and we'll definitely be playing a lot of Hunter decks with it. Moving into Mage. Mage's got some sick hero power synergy and some spell synergy. So starting off with Arcane Luminary, 3 mana 4/3 elemental. Cards that didn't start in your deck cost 2 less, but not less than 1. So unless you're playing like a Mimi created by Mage, I don't really see a home for this. And like the Flamewaker Mage doesn't want this, so like if anything, you're probably just running this on like a Deck of Lunacy, Uldum quest, like style of quest Mage. And that's probably where this is going to see play, but like in competitive decks, it probably doesn't really have a home. Next up is the new secret. It's a frost spell. Whenever a friendly minion is attacked, summon a 3/6 Water Ellie. Am I wrong to think that this is just like really good? Like I think this card's just good. So now you have Flame Ward that encourages you to trade into minions before you hit face. Then you have Rigged Fair Game, which is always requiring you to hit face. And you have Counterspell, and you have Netherwind Portal, and now you have Oasis Ally that punishes you for trading into minions. Like, I think this is good, no? Like some of Mage's biggest weaknesses are stuff like Odd Demon Hunter, Odd Rogue, Pirate Warrior, that can keep hitting you in the face, right? And they have super efficient ways to like kill off your minions because they don't care about Flame Ward because they hit you in the face with a huge ass weapon. And now when they trade into your minions, you summon a Water Ellie that can freeze their face. Like, am I wrong in thinking that this is just strong? Like, I think you definitely probably mix it up. Like, I don't know what your secret package ends up becoming, and whether you probably go from 7 to 8. I have no idea. But like, I think this card is strong, and it covers like not really a weakness, right? Because Secret Mage into those matchups like wasn't terrible. Like, it was probably like 45-55. And this helps. It helps a ton. And so, like, I think always solid. I think it's good. I think it's gonna see play. Not like Secret Mage needs more help, but I think it's a good card and potentially sees play in that deck. Rhyme Tongue. Warriors are red, frost spells are blue. If you're being hit by a weapon, Rhyme Tongue's got you. Aw, wait, that's quality. Quality flavor text. No, is the card itself quality. 3 mana, 3/4. After you cast a frost spell, summon a 1/1 Ellie that freezes. So I think this card, and then I think Shatter is becoming 1 mana. And they're going to be printing a lot more freeze, like the new legendary as well. That makes like potentially just like a tempo freeze mage, right? I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be better than Secret Mage or anything like that, but like you've got the makings of like a tempo freeze mage, and so I could see that, and this would be great in that kind of deck. Outside of that, probably not good. Like, I don't think you're running an Arena Mage or Quest Mage or anything like that, but I think in a tempo freeze shell, whether that happens now or an expansion or two into the future, I think this could be a very, very strong core card in those lists, but right now that list doesn't exist. Okay, Refreshing Spring Water. So for those of you guys that don't watch Corbett, first of all, what are you doing? You guys should be watching Corbett. He's a pretty good streamer. But he's been playing a lot of this Flamewaker Mage that's like very reminiscent of Quest Mage and Mozaki Mage, but a lot more explosive because he plays like the Enchantress Flow, and then just like you literally full mulligan for Enchantress Flow, and then you play like Flamewaker and 20 spells in one turn, and you pop off. This card seems freaking amazing, like absolutely amazing in that deck. It's literally going to be 0 mana draw 2 the majority of the time. Corbett runs like Cram Session. It's like 2 mana draw 1, and he runs Snap Freeze or Icicle or whatever one of the really bad free spells. And so this just like kind of replaces that probably. And I think this and stuff like Mizaki or that Flamewaker Mage is just like, it's just nutty. 0 mana draw seems really good. And if you manage to discount it, you're gaining mana. So yeah, Refreshing Spring Water I think is a very good card. Alright, next up we've got Wildfire. Wildfire is a 2 mana spell. Increase the damage of your hero power by 1. And this is permanent hero power buff, right? So you play this and your hero power will deal 2. Or you play 2 of these and your hero power becomes a Frostbolt. And you play this in addition with some of the hero power synergy from Rostercon's Rumble. And then yeah, Even Mage is already like an Inspire hero power style of deck. Especially with 2 of the cards that we revealed earlier, the Mordresh Fire Eye and the Apprentice, the 4 mana 3/5 that deals it to all minions. Yeah, Wildfire seems pretty good. Big fan of this one. It's a little bit slow, right? But if you're playing Even Mage, you can play this on like turn 3 and kind of get away with it. So I'm a fan of Wildfire. A big fan. Even Mage getting some love. It's getting some much needed love this expansion, and Wildfire one of the better cards for it. All right, next up we've got Runed Orb. 2 mana, deal 2, discover a spell. It's never really going to be deal 2, right? Because if you're running a card like this, you probably are running some like spell damage. So like very likely like 2 mana, deal 3, deal 4. The question is like, is this good enough to run in Arena Mages? Probably not, because you don't want the spells, and this is not that powerful of an effect. Assuming because like everybody wants to be running LPG mages, right? So do you run this in Even Mage? You probably run this in Even Mage. Yeah, I mean, like, spell damage mage and even mage. And, like, honestly, probably Corbet's Flamewaker mage probably wants this as well. Quest mage probably wants this. Reno Quest mage probably wants this. Alright, I've convinced myself. I think this card's good. Like, removal that discovers a spell. Big fan, right? So Quest mage, Reno Quest mage, even mage, Flamewaker mage. Yeah, alright, Rune Orb, good card. Alright, next up we have Varden Dawn Grasp. 4 mana 3/3. Battlecry, freeze all enemy minions. If any are already frozen, that's really weird phrasing. If any are already frozen, deal 4 damage to them instead. 4 mana 3/3, freeze all enemy minions with Battlecry. I think you can kind of ignore the second half of that, and this just becomes a 1 mana 3/3 with Frost Nova attached to it. Yeah? And I really like that in LPG Mage, because then it becomes like 1 mana 3/3 that freezes the entire board. And then I can like barista it back and play them again. And then like the turn after. Or the same turn and like flame strike a board. Like, Varden Dawn Grasp seems like a very, very good card in LPG Mage. And probably it's a very good card in like a tempo freeze, which doesn't exist now, but again, this is like another piece that maybe in an expansion or two might become a legitimate deck. And so I'm a big fan of Varden. Like, definitely, like, as somebody who plays a ton of LPG Mage, I'm excited for Varden. But outside of that, I'm not sure. Like, where... Like, is the power level high enough that you just shove it in Even Mage? Maybe. I don't know if you have the slots, right? Because you need all the hero power synergy now. But, I mean, just it's a 1 mana 3/3 with a Frost Nova. Like, it's so good. It's so good. I think this is probably like one of the best, if not the best, standalone card that that Mage got this expansion, and so I'm excited. All right, Flurry, 0 mana Frost Spell, freeze a random enemy minion, upgrades to 2 random enemy minions and 3 random enemy minions at 5 and 10 mana. Does any deck ever want stuff like Freezing Potion? So nothing really wants Freezing Potion, and this I think is like a little bit worse than Freezing Potion in the early game, slightly better late game. But because you never are really winning Freezing Potion right now anyways, you probably don't want this card, but it's probably pretty good off of like random generation in Mizaki or Quest Mage. I can imagine being pretty pissed at this, like being randomly generated against me. But I think being run in the 30, probably not. So yeah, Mage as a whole getting a ton of hero power support. So between Wildfire, Reckless Apprentice, and Mordresh Fire Eye, like Even Mage getting some huge buffs. Sounds like Even Mage is going to be a legitimate deck, which is kind of weird to say. LPG Mage getting some nice toys in Varden. Secret Mage potentially getting some nice toys in Oasis Alley. Flamewaker Mage getting some nice toys. And then I'm starting to see the forming of some sort of like tempo freeze mage, which would probably not be a deck for another expansion or two. But Mage, so far out of the 4 classes that we reviewed, Mage looks like it's the kind of the big winner so far for the cards that are being released. All right, so let's talk about some Paladin. Paladin getting support for 2 and 2.5 synergies. So it's getting a ton of secret synergy. It's getting some holy synergy and a little bit of dude synergy in there as well. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about Galloping Savior. It's the new Paladin secret. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, summon a 3/4 steed with taunt. So this was a didn't they have Hidden Wisdom? Right? After your opponent played 3 cards, draw 2. I mean, a 3/4 taunt is like not worth it, right? Like, I'd much rather have a 6/6 off of Rat Trap. So I don't think this makes the cut. We've got much better Paladin secrets to play. So I don't think Galloping Savior makes the cut. Maybe it does in Standard. In Wild, not so much. Knight of Anointment. 1 mana 1/1 Battlecry, draw a holy spell. I think this is up there for like maybe one of my top 10 cards of the set. No joke. 1 mana, 1/1, draw a holy spell. Again, any type of tutor draw, I love it. And the flavor text, also 10 out of 10. I think this card, like, okay, obviously Libram Paladin gets drawn off of Christology, gets drawn off of the Saulhead's Pride, draws Hand of a Doll, and draws your Librams. Seems insane, okay? But I'm also a little bit worried, like, there are decks that revolve around drawing specific spells in Paladin, like Prismatic Lens, or potentially something like Holy Wrath, yeah? And if those happen to be holy spells, a way to tutor your Prismatic Lens? That's a recipe for disaster. A way to tutor your Holy Wrath? Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah. Like, I'm really excited for this card, but also really, really scared. We haven't seen all of the, like, holy spells. Like, that have, like, all the holy tags that have been applied to wild spells. We don't know what exactly this can tutor. Like, I'm excited for it for, like, in Libram Paladin, because we know Librams are holy. But yeah. I'm also kind of scared about potential of Prismatic Lens and... Okay, Soldier's Caravan. I think this is the one Caravan that might actually see play. So 2 mana 1/3 at the start of your turn, summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits. 2 recruits every turn that this survives. Seems pretty good. And I think the biggest thing here is, like, if you're playing Dude Paladin, Corbett had a pure Dude Paladin, and I played a lot of it at the beginning of Darkmoon Faire. And yeah, I mean, I think being able to tutor this with Christology was really good. And, like, getting it down on turn 2, like, if it survives, it's just absolutely insane. Tons of dudes, pumps out tons of dudes. And I think you can also consider this in something like Even Paladin, right? Because I think Even Paladin right now either wants to do Corpse Taker synergy or Dude synergy. And I think, like, this gives you a ton of dudes in Even Dude Paladin. And so I think this card's going to be, like, probably the most playable Caravan. And those are the 2 decks that I would mess around with it in. Alright, next up we have Northwatch Commander. 3 mana 3/4. If you control a secret, draw a minion. So we've seen some cards that, like, will actually help you cheat out secrets earlier in the game. And so we can go ahead and talk about it. There's a new Paladin weapon for 2 mana that after you attack with it, it'll cast a secret from your deck. So you curve that into this, draw some minions, like a Mysterious Challenger or a Lothab, or the new 5 mana Secret Paladin Legendary. I think it's good. Spider Tank with draw seems pretty good, and that requirement is not super hard when all of your secrets cost 1 mana. So yeah, I'm excited for Northwatch Commander. I think it's just a good card in Secret Paladin, like solid card, and we'll see play in that deck for sure. And another card that's definitely gonna see play in Secret Paladin is a new weapon. I think this is the second best Paladin card. Sword of the Fallen, 2 mana 1/3. After a hero attacks, cast a secret from your deck. This card is just nuts, dude. 2 mana 1/3, thin your deck by 3. Yeah. yeah, this card is pretty good. Like, this card's just absolutely nuts. So I'm memeing a little bit. This is probably just, like, the best card that's been released for Paladin. I'm a little bit in love with Cariel Rome just because she fits in my Libram Paladins, but I think this card is just very, very strong. And I think this card, like, even if the Commander, the 3/4, doesn't see play, this card 100% sees play, and 100% might be the reason. Like, if Secret Paladin comes back, this is the reason it comes back. Like, this card, and then Call to Arms coming back, you just absolutely love it. This card is so strong. Conviction. This is Blessing of Might. It's a upgradable spell. Give a random friendly minion +3 attack. Then 2 friendly minions +3 attack, and then 3 friendly minions +3 attack. I mean, when all of your dudes are 1/1s, you don't really care which one gets the buff that you send to their death as you trade up. Conviction just, like, it replaces Blessing of Might in Odd Paladins. Priest getting some weird stuff. I have trouble evaluating Priest because Priest does some weird stuff. So let's start talking about it. Let's be a little bit excited. Void Flayer, 4 mana 3/4, Battle Cry. For each spell in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion. So this is the what is this? The 6 mana 3/3 in Mage, right? Like the hand Mage card, but only spells. Like it only hits minions, right? Not the opponent's face. So like what decks are gonna be heavy spell decks in Priests and Wild? Inner Fire runs a decent density of minions. Mind Blast Priest now runs a decent density of minions because you run Rally. So like unless you're doing like the Giants deck, and then like if you're playing the Giants deck, you don't really want Void Flayer, right? So yeah, I'm not really seeing a place where you want this card. And because of that, I'm just gonna go next. Power Word Fortitude, 8 mana. Whoa, 8 mana. Give a minion +3/+5, cost 1 less for each spell in your hand. Okay, that makes sense. So, what mana cost are you happy casting this for? 4 mana, right, at the minimum. So you need to have at least 4 other spells in your hand. You need 4. And, like, 4 mana is, like, the minimum, right? You obviously want it for, like, 2 or 3. I don't, like, Inner Fire Priest doesn't want this. Inner Fire Priest doesn't want this. I think this will be, like, if you're playing Inner Fire Priest and you, like, do you play, like, you don't play Palm Reading in that deck, right? Or Renew. So, like, I don't even think you generate this in Inner Fire. Nah, you don't even generate it in Inner Fire, so we're gonna go next. Soothsayer's Caravan, 2 mana 1/3. At the start of your turn, copy a spell from your opponent's deck to your hand. This payoff is not strong enough to warrant running a Caravan, so it's not good. Like, what deck wants this? Like, I don't even think you run this in, like, Thief Priest. Like, the Thief Arena Priest does not want this, so we're going next. Devouring Plague. 3 mana, deal 4 damage, randomly split among all enemy minions, lifesteal. Huh? This doesn't even get to go face. This card sucks. Alright. Serena Bloodfeather. 2 mana 1/1. Battlecry, choose an enemy minion, steal attack and health from it until this has more. So this is like soft removal. Like if you target a giant, like let's say your opponent plays Dark Lair on turn 3 and gets out 1 giant. And then you play Serena Bloodfeather. Like the giant becomes a 4/4. This card sucks too. Alright, this card sucks too. Alright, next. Zyrella. 4 mana 4/4. Battlecry. If you restored health this turn, deal that much damage to all enemy minions. I know a lot of people want this in Arena Priest, or like are talking about trying it in Arena Priest at least. And I think it's bait, right? So let's say you've already played Raza. So 0 mana heal your face, deal 2 damage. But that's like starting on turn 6, and at that point, like you have Dragonfire. Like, I think what you can consider, like, I think in Arena Priest this card is bait, but I'm thinking about it in like Inner Fire Priest or in like the Mind Blast Priest, the decks that run Pyro, Cleric, Circle with Rally, right? Which is either Inner Fire or the Mind Blast Priest. And like that deck is probably like a perfect fit for Zyrella, right? Because those decks don't have a ton of board clears and they don't have a ton of comeback mechanisms. And you can play Circle of Healing, heal your minions for like 4 or 5, and then play like draw some cards, and then play Zyrella and clear your opponent's board. Like, I can get behind that. Like, I think if you're gonna play her, it's not gonna be in Arena Priest. Priest of Unshi. Unshi? 5 mana 5/5 with Taunt. If you've restored health this turn, gain +3/+3. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna be all of the new Priest cards. Guys, I hope you guys aren't Priest mains, because these cards look like they suck. Oh no. Oh no, these cards look like they suck. I think Zyrella is the one that has potential in like Inner Fire or Mind Blast Priest, but the rest of these cards just like, shit, they look like they suck. Oh, they're so bad. Alright, let's talk about Rogue. Rogue has 8 new cards to talk about. So let's go ahead and start off. with Field Contact. 3 mana, 3/2. After you play a Battlecry or combo card, draw a card. Is this card not, like, nuts? The standard Miracle Rogue runs a bunch of cards that combo with this, right? Foxy Fraud seems insane. Foxy Fraud with Miscreants and Lackeys. Oh, baby, dude. This card seems insane. It's like Auctioneer, but like 3 mana. Oh, like, dude, Foxy Fraud, yeah, Foxy Fraud with like Wand Thieves and Swindles and Evil Miscreants and Lackeys, like so like Corbett's like Baitweed, right? With Edwin, like the Miracle Rogue, but like yeah, like Hey Loser, Penflinger's nuts with this. God, this card is just nuts, man. Is this card not insane? This card is so good. I'm a fan. This card seems like it's gonna be absolutely insane. 2 mana 1/4 mech, efficient Octobot with Frenzy. Reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Huh. Wait. So if I'm playing Octobot in a deck with Field Contact, so like I can play Octobot, Penflinger the Octobot, Shadowstep the Octobot, get this and the Penflinger back to my hand, then I play another Octobot, and Penflinger it again, or I just look at it at 2 mana Emperor Thorison because it's a 2 mana 1/4 that's gonna live a majority. Huh? Yo, did they just print a 2 mana Emperor Thorison that can be abused multiple times? That you get to run 2 of in your deck? Huh? I mean, I think the big point is, yeah, like, what deck can abuse this the best, right? Like, you obviously aren't running this in, like, Kingsbane or Odd Rogue. Or Aggro Rogue. And Big Rogue, right? Those are the options that don't run it. But, like, don't you want this in, like, Mali? Or, like, I would run this in my Pillager Rogue. Almost 100%. Alright, Silverleaf Poison. 2 mana Nature Poison card. Give your weapon, after your hero attacks, draw a card. And this card might work in a Spectral Thief Rogue? Probably. Yeah, that might be the home for it, right? Like the Cutlass Rogue. Yeah, that's actually probably the best home. 100% then. Yeah, that makes sense, because every time I play that deck, I just want card draw. Yeah, so this probably goes in Thief Rogue and nowhere else, right? It's too slow for Kingsbane. I don't think the Mill Kingsbane list wants this, so yeah, I probably don't think it's going to see playing those 2 decks, but Cutlass Rogue probably wants it for sure. Alright, Wicked Stab. 2 mana, deal 2. At 5 mana, it deals 4. At 10 mana, it deals 6. This is just like worse Eviscerate. So, I dip. Not good. Go next. Apothecary Hellbrim. So they reprinted Zeril. 4 mana, 3/2, Battlecry, and Death Rattle at a random poison. So what are the poisons? It's Paralytic Poison, Silverleaf Poison, Deadly Poison, Nitro Boost Poison. Right? Those are the 4. Leeching Poison. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, Leeching Poison. Ew. I mean, in Standard Weapon Rogue, you probably run it. But in WoW, this is just not good, right? Nope. Swine Tusk Shank. 3 mana, 2/2. After you play a poison, gain +1 durability. I mean, in Wild, we have Kingsbane. So... so yeah. No. Scabs Cutter Butter. 4 mana, 3/3. Legendary. Combo. The next 2 cards you play this turn cost 3 less. This card is just like asking to be broken in our format. Right? It's asking to be broken. Alright, moral of this story, you cannot go infinite with Cutter Butter. So you're using him to just do degenerate mana cheating of tempo, right? So whether it's Edwin or Miscreants or whatever, like that's what you're just doing with Cutter Butter. So it probably just slots into that like Miracle style rogue with Field Contact and Miscreants and Eddies and Questings and Baitweeds and stuff. Like that's probably where this goes, and I don't think that there's a combo with this. At least I can't find it after spending like 20 minutes just sitting here doing Cutter Butter math. Yeah, I think Tempo Rogue is the way to... Regardless, I think this card is nuts. Mana cheating is good. And yeah, it's good. It's going to see playing wild. Excited for some Cutter Butter. And last but not least in Rogue, Paralytic Poison. 1 mana, give your hero or your weapon +1 attack. Your hero is immune while attacking. So this is another card that we talked about in the latest episode of State of Wild. Just a reminder to make sure you guys check that out if you guys haven't already. But yeah, like the Mill Kingsbane probably wants this, or Mill Rogues probably want this with Kingsbane. So like your weapon package can be like Kingsbane with 2 Paralytic Poisons, and then instead of running like 4 weapon buffs, you can just run 2 Envenom weapons, right? So that way it's just 1 mana, you know, kill a minion without taking damage, which seems like okay, like removal. Potentially cut evasions in Kingsbane at that point. I mean, I think this card, I hate Mill Rogue, but I think this card might just promote you wanting to run Kingsbane in that style of deck again. It's going to take a lot of reworking, right? Because we've had a lot of cards since the last version of Mill Kingsbane. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. But yeah, I mean, Rogue looking like it's getting a couple of spicy tools like it always does, right? Field Contact seems nuts. It's Cutter Butter, even though it doesn't go infinite, according to my 20 minutes of math, doesn't go infinite. And Octobot looks like it has potential, and Paralytic Poison looks like it has potential. So, like, as usual, Rogue getting a couple cards that seem absolutely broken, and a couple cards that are, like, pretty good and potentially abusable. But yeah, and then it gets cards like Apothecary Hellbrim that are just, like, kind of unplayable in our format. So, rip. But yeah, I mean, Rogue doesn't really hold the candle to Major Paladin yet, but still getting some cool toys to play with. Alright, moving into Shaman. Shaman getting some actually really cool things that I'm excited about. Namely, Murlocs and Elementals. 2 underrepresented archetypes in our format getting some much needed love. And it starts with this absolutely insane 1-drop Murloc. 1 mana 1/2, Death Rattle Summoning 1/1. This card is just good. It is a great 1-drop on 1. You love to see it. Murloc Shamans rejoice. Next up we have Earth Revenant. 4 mana 2/6 with Taunt, Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I don't think, like, I know our format is full of pirates, but 4 mana to deal 1 damage, I don't know if it's good enough. Don't know if it's good enough to see play. I do think that you just need, like, you needed a higher density of playable elementals for that elemental, like, probably quest shaman. So it's probably okay. But this is also not the elemental that I want to be running, because there's a couple of other ones that I think are just better. Next up, we've got Lily Pad Lurker. This is one of them. 5 mana 4/5 elemental. If you played an elemental last turn, transform an enemy minion into a 0/1 frog with taunt. Targeted hex on a stick if you played an elemental last turn. Seems pretty good. Yeah. Removal on a body. Every time a card like that is printed, you love to see it. This card's pretty damn good. Is it good enough to push Elemental Shaman? Who knows? But it's a great step in the right direction. Tiny Finn's Caravan. 2 mana 1/3 at the start of your turn, draw a Murloc. Unfortunately, this Caravan is not a Murloc, so no bueno. No bueno. This card is trash. Arid Stormer. So 3 mana 2/5 elemental. If you played an elemental last turn, gain Rush and Wind Fury. So Crab Rider is a very strong 2-drop as a 2 mana 1/4 with Rush Wind Fury. A 3 mana 2/5 that can potentially come down on turn 2 with Rush and Wind Fury seems pretty good. Yeah, seems pretty good. Arid Stormer. This is one of the cards that has me kind of excited for Elemental Shaman, and like this recovers the tempo of playing something like a 1/2, or whether it's a Firefly or a new card that we're going to talk about. Or you can go Quest on 1 into Elementals on 2 into this on 3, and it helps you recover tempo. So kind of excited for Arid Storm. I think it's a very strong card. Is it enough to push Elemental Shaman? We'll see. Like maybe you start running like maybe like Galakrond like summons 2/1 elementals with Rush. That doesn't count as playing elementals though. So don't know. But you might actually just like run an elemental Galakrond Shaman. Like you probably have the Galakrond Shaman, you can kind of shove in a bunch of different packages and see what works best, and elementals might be one of those. Next up, we have another really strong Murloc. 2 mana, 3/2 Murloc. Battlecry, if you control another Murloc, deal 2 damage. So this is like Merc Sparkeel for Murlocs. And Merc Sparkeel was actually just insane in Even Shaman. This card's just kind of insane in Murloc Shaman. That's why we want the 1 mana Murloc that sticks around. That plus the Mermy, I believe is the name, right? Mermy. Are just going to be like the go-to 1-drops in that deck. Because, you know, 2 mana, 3/2, deal 2. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Murloc Shaman likes this card. And then we have Firemancer Flurgle. This card is just absolutely insane in Murloc Shaman, right? It is Flurk Mage. Haha. Credit to Corbett for that one. But Flurk Mage. And then, of course, we have the synergy with Toxfin, right? Where it literally becomes 3 mana clear the entire board. That synergy with Toxfin is probably enough to warrant running Firemancer Flurgle, Toxfin, and like double Ice Fishing in Arena Shaman. And it itself is enough to run like double Sludge Slurper, Firemancer Flurgle, and Toxfin in Quest Shaman, right? It's better than Risky Skipper Barov, and Risky Skipper Barov is an insane combo. So yeah, Flurgle, pretty damn good. And then we have Nothing Can Stop Us. 3 mana. Give your Murlocs +1/+1. Give your Murlocs an extra +1/+1. So I think this card's fine. I think it's good. Right? You run it because if your minions stick and you can rip and nothing can happen us, it's insane. It's an insane buff. I would also say I really wish this was like any Finn can happen, where it like was give your minions +1/+1, cost 1 less for each Murloc you own, but that would be pretty strong. So I see why they didn't do that. But yeah, I mean, I think this card is good. I think Murloc Shaman and Elemental Shaman just getting some huge buffs this expansion, and excited to mess around with both of them, alongside Galakrond Shaman getting huge buffs from the unnerfs as well. So yeah, excited for Elemental and Murlocs. Brucon didn't get a ton of support, right, within this expansion. Hopefully he gets some in future, but he also gets Lightning Bolt and Crackle. And so that alone might be enough to still push the archetype in Wild. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Alright, Warlock getting some weird support this expansion, at least for Wild. Getting some Zoo support and getting some self-mill support. It's very interesting. Apothecary's Caravan. 2 mana, 1/3. At the start of your turn, summon a 1-cost minion from your deck. This card's just way too slow for our format. Cabal Outfitter. 3 mana, 3/3. Battlecry. And Death Battle, give another friendly minion +1/+1. It doesn't feel strong enough to push out a place in like Discard Warlock, so I don't think this card's good enough for Wild. Like I wouldn't be surprised though if it was like fine in that like Galakrond Zoo that was like about Undertaker and eggs and stuff. Like this has a Death Battle, so it might be worth looking at in that deck, but in Discard probably not. Barrens Scavenger. 6 mana, 6/6 Taunt. It costs 1 while your deck has 10 or fewer cards. This whole synergy of like milling your own stuff just like feels so weird to me. Like the payoffs, the big payoff cards for having no cards in your deck just aren't worth running. So I think the big thing is like, are there decks that are fast enough that you want to run Barrens Scavenger? Like, I'm thinking about stuff like Mechathune Warlock, because you hem it away. The moment you play hem it, you have less than 10 cards. So you can hem it, and then you have 1 mana 6/6s while still drawing and healing. And so, like I could totally see Barrens Scavenger in something like Mechathune Warlock, because this is the big payoff card, right? Like, this is the one that's really exciting for me, the 1 mana 6/6 with Taunt. But I think Mechathune is, like, the only way that you can potentially play this in our format. Because this legendary payoff card, is the hottest piece of garbage I've ever seen in my life. 5 mana, 5/5. If your deck is empty, open a portal that fills your board with 3/2 imps each turn. So this takes the Lakari Sacrifice reward and puts a value reward on a card where you're already fatiguing? Like, what? Huh? Like, if I'm gonna run a self-mill deck, I'm not running this, I'm running Nomi. Like... Oh, it fills the entire board. Oh, but that's still worse than... I guess it's a refillable Nomi. Okay, it's a lot less worse than I thought, but it's still pretty worse. Like, or still pretty bad. So, yeah, this card just sucks, dude. This card just... Like, I don't want to play this. This is not good. Altar of Fire. 1 mana, destroy the top 3 cards of each deck. I mean, this is a card that I'm going to lose to, and I'm going to be pissed, because it's exactly like Ticketus, and it's bad and shouldn't see play. Yeah? But I'm gonna get my Anduin milled from it, or my Pocket Galaxy, or my 2 Renos, and I'm gonna be hella pissed. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, and the last card for Warlock is Bloodshard Bristleback. I don't believe I've talked about this one yet. 3 mana, 3/3, Lifesteal. Battlecry, if your deck contains 10 or fewer cards, deal 6. So that 6 damage that it deals also has Lifesteal. So, like, the Bloodshard with the Scavenger are, like, the good cards for this, like, self-mill strategy. So, again, like, I think the actual self-mill cards are not good. But I'm wondering, like, in a card that draws a ton of cards, like Mechathene Warlock, do you want to run Bloodshard Bristleback? Yeah, probably. Like this gets destroyed by the Hemet, but I think you're okay with it. The problem is like, these don't draw cards on their own. But, like, I think if you're a fan of Mechathene Warlock, you take a look at something like Bristleback and the Scavenger. And then just, like, dust these cards if you open them. Yeah? Okay. Warrior, I think, got some pretty good stuff. So let's talk about Warrior. Whirling Combatant, 4 mana, 2/6, Battlecry, and Frenzy, deal 1 to all other minions. It is like a second risky skipper kind of card, though. What's Frenzy? After it survives damage, do the effect. And that's to survive the damage, right? But it can be like Penflinger, actually hitting a minion. I don't think you are that desperate for this effect in Wild, right? I don't think something like Enrage Warrior is like a thing that needs multiple effects. So I don't think we need this card. And so I'm going to say it's not going to see any play in our format. Next up we have Stonemaul Anchorman. 5 mana, 4/5 with Rush. Frenzy, draw a card. So this is a 5 mana, 4/5 with Rush that draws a card majority of the time. And it's a pirate. So that gives us draw in Pirate Warrior. Okay, so like what I'm thinking here is that Nitro Boost Poison is getting nerfed. Okay? And so with the Nitro Boost Poison nerf, you're cutting that and you're cutting class. And so because of that, you need card draw in that deck, because at that point the only card draw you still have left is Ankar. And so I think you can consider running Anchorman. Like, you run in Pirate Warrior, you cut the Nitro Boost Poisons, you cut the cutting classes, and you replace them with Anchormans and the new weapon that we're about to talk about. And it gives you sufficient draw. So like, with that logic, I think this card is good and we'll see play. Like, a 5 mana 4/5 with Rush that synergizes with Captain and all the cannons, like, it can't be that bad, right? It is a little bit expensive, don't get me wrong, it's expensive, but I think Pirate Warrior, when it loses Nitro Boost Poison, the explosiveness of the deck goes way down. And so I think you play it as a more mid-rangey deck. Mid-rangey, like, it still wants to kill on turn 6, right? But like, I definitely think you actually consider running this in Pirate Warrior, which is kind of crazy, right? Alright, next up we've got Bulk Up, another Taunt Warrior synergy card. Give a random taunt minion in your hand, +1/+1, and then copy it. So, yeah, I mean, copying taunts that synergize with Into the Fray, or you play the 3 mana buff card. Wait. So you play a 3 mana buff card. You play. You get that on the Saturnight Chain Gang. So then your Saturnight Chain Gang becomes a 7/8, and then you play Bulk Up, and Saturnight Chain Gang becomes an 8/9, and then you get 2 of them. And I'm like, oh baby. Wait, Taunt Warrior looks like it might legitimately be a good deck. Like, Taunt Warrior getting a lot of love. The thing is, like, now you have the 3 mana card that I can never remember the name of. You have bolsters and you have into the phrase. Like, maybe bulk up is too many buffs. Maybe it's too many buffs. And, like, you can't fit this in. But, like, that's a good problem to have, which means Taunt Warrior might be, like, legit. So, looking forward to trying out some Taunt Warrior. And I think you definitely take a look at this one. I don't know if it makes it in, but you definitely take a look at it. And then this is the new card that I'm probably the most excited about for Warrior. Outrider's Axe. 4 mana, 3/3. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, draw a card. So again, this is what I'm talking about in stuff like Pirate Warrior, right? Because in Pirate Warrior, you're losing the cutting class, and you're losing the Nitro boost, and so you need your draw from somewhere. And this card is just nuts. I think this card is nuts in Pirate Warrior. I think it's absolutely nuts in like Galakron Warrior. I think this card is just like legitimately good, very very good, and I'm excited to mess around with it. Like card draw in aggro decks and like tempo decks. Like anytime something that's moderately aggressive also allows you to draw a card. Big fan of it, and you should definitely look at it to to run. And I think this is definitely good enough to run. Rancor, 4 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions, gain 2 armor for each destroyed. So it's not odd. So probably the only deck that wants this is like DMH, and like DMH has Barrens, double risky, and they run 1 brawl. Like, I don't think that this is good enough in the format. So it's like Priest has 3 mana deal 2. We get 4 mana deal 2. That gives us what? Potentially like 4 to 6 armor? Unless you like high roll. I guess it's not really high roll, but like if you kill 5 minions, then gaining 10 is nuts. But like, what is that happening against? Odd Paladin or like Risky Skipper would be insanely good. So I'm not a DMH player, so I can't tell if I want Rancor in DMH. My instinct is saying no, though. So I don't think that this is gonna see play in our format. And then conditioning. I'm just gonna show you guys the upgrades on this art because I think this is like the one set of upgradable cards that I actually like really love the art for. So push-ups to 1-finger push-ups to 1-handed push-ups. The flavor on that art is just like, that is so sick. But let's look at the cards itself. 2 mana Smuggler's Run, and then it turns into 2 mana Don't Feed the Animals. So don't feed the animals. And then 2 mana +3/+3. The only deck that probably wants buffs like this is Taunt Warrior, and we just have better ways to do that, right? So no. Right? No thanks. We probably go next. The only minions worth buffing are the Taunt Warrior cards, and we have better ways to do that, so it's probably not gonna supply. And then Overlord Sourfang. 7 mana 5/4, Battle Cry, resurrect 2 friendly frenzy minions, deal 1 damage to all minions. So what this will do is it'll resurrect 2 friendly minions and then trigger the frenzy. So I'm not familiar enough with the cards. What are some good frenzy minions? What are some good frenzy minions we want to trigger? So like frenzy, like this card wants to be like in a Galakron Warrior, right? Galakron Warrior with frenzy. That's what frenzy and Warrior wants to be. Is like in a Galakron Warrior shell. The problem is like I don't think Galakron Warrior wants to go this route. They want to go the Scion of Ruin. Yeah, that's the way that they want to play this. And so, like, I don't know. Rukara, Rush, 3 mana 2/3 with Rush. After a friendly minion attacks and survives, give it +1/+1. Thinking about this in like Galakron, and I'm thinking about this in that Taunt Warrior. Like you make a whole bunch of taunts, and then you can attack, survive, give it +1/+1, right? Like I think this probably is good enough for stuff like Taunt Warrior or Galakron Warrior. It's not the most exciting card though, so but I think it's playable because stuff like Galakron Warrior and Taunt Warrior are getting huge buffs, right? So and last but not least for Warrior, we have Warsong Envoy. 3 mana or 1 mana 1/3, Frenzy, gain +1 attack for each damaged character. This is not the 1/3 that I want to play in my like I want to play Eternium Rover and Town Crier. in my risky skipper decks, so probably not going to see play. So yeah, Warrior, I mean, Warrior, the big card, like the Axe is the big card. It's insanely good. And then and then the Morshan Elite in Taunt Warrior. Looks like it's getting pretty good. So Warrior, not the most exciting, but at least it has more playable cards than Priest and Warlock XD. Alright, so for the neutral cards, we're going to go through them fairly quickly. And so I'm probably going to skip over a lot of the cards that are probably just like straight up unplayable. Lushwater Scout, 2 mana 1/3 Murloc. After you summon a Murloc, give it +1 attack and rush. I think this card is Magic Carpet for Murlocs. That Murloc Shaman that we're talking about. Yeah, dude, let's go, baby. Magic Carpet, let's go. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Oasis Thrasher. So this is a card that I'm actually interested in potentially running in Even Hunter. It's 2 mana 2/3 Oasis Thrasher Beast. Frenzy, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. So like it's nothing flashy, right? It's a 2 mana 2/3. But if it survives damage, then it deals 3. Like I kind of like it in Even Hunter. Like I think this card's really like not really good, but 3 damage is a lot of damage for Even Hunter. I definitely think I'm going to experiment with this in Even Hunter. Does it go anywhere else? Probably not. But Even Hunter is a very real deck, and excited to try this out. 3 damage is a lot of damage. Alright, so next up we have Crossroads Gossiper. 3 mana 4/3. After a friendly secret is revealed, gain +2/+2. So while this is probably not strong enough for Secret Mage, I think that tells you a lot more about the strength of Secret Mage than it does about the strength of this card. I think this card's pretty damn strong, especially in the classes that can curve out secrets on turn 2, right? So you're looking at Hunter, obviously. You're looking at, Mad Scientist on 2. And you're looking at that new Paladin weapon, right? The 2 mana 1/3 that's going to bring out a secret from your deck. And most Paladin secrets will actually protect your minions, right? Whether it's Never Surrender or Get Down or Auto Defense Matrix. And so a 3 mana 4/3 that becomes very easily a 3 mana 6/5. And with Paladin being able to run like 4 or 5 secrets, like, yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is like, I'm really looking at this in Secret Paladin because turn 3 is probably going to be your weakest turn in Secret Paladin. Right now, how I'm envisioning the list is you have Muster for Battle as the 2 of, and then you have Captain Risa as the other 3. And like Muster for Battle goes down in value when you have the new weapon, right? Because you want to get all 3 swings off with that weapon if you can. And then, like I said, the Paladin secrets kind of protect this 4/3 very, very easily, and it can scale pretty damn hard. So I'm kind of digging it. I think this card's actually pretty good in Secret Paladin, because Secret Paladin wants to be super aggressive as well anyways, right? I actually really like this card. I think this card's pretty good in Paladin. It's not good enough for Mage. It might be good enough for Hunter. It's been a while since I've played Hunter. You really want Petting Zoo and Hunter on 3, but like this is probably not a bad backup plan. Alright, next up is probably one of the best cards, if not the best card in the set, and it's a common, neutral, who could have guessed it, Injured Marauder. 4 mana 5/10 Taunt. Battlecry, deal 6 damage to this minion. Yeah, so like if you're playing it from your hand, it's not very good, but good thing that there's this like Druid card that kind of cheats it into play for like just, from your deck. Like why not? 4 mana 5/10 with Taunt off of Oaken Summons. Yeah, yeah. You thought getting Vargoth into a 3/9 Taunt and gain 12 life was good? A 5/10 Taunt is much, much better than a 3/9 Taunt. Yep. Yep. This card is insane. This card's nuts. Definitely a candidate for one of the best cards in the set, just because Oaken Summons is a busted card. Alright, so South Sea Scoundrel. 4 mana 5/5 Pirate. Battlecry, discover a card in your opponent's deck. They draw theirs as well. So this is an aggro card, right? More than anything. And I think you're looking at this in Pirate Warrior, probably. So a 4 mana 5/5. I'm comparing this to the 5 mana 4/5 that I said that might be playable earlier. And I'm looking at this, right? So like, what's the worst case scenario? You're playing against a Reno Priest, probably one of your worst matchups. You play a 4 mana 5/5. Great stats for the cost. And like the worst options to see would be what? Psychic Scream, Mass Hysteria, Hysteria. And then you give them the Psychic Scream and hope you kill him before turn 7. Or like... like those are probably the worst options. I guess like Reno is that option. You still give them the Scream. But like if you play this and you give them like... I don't know. Like a Thalnos or a 1/3. Like, is it that bad? Like, it's a 4-mana 5/5. You're giving the opponent the card, but you're also getting the card. Like, dude, I have to play with it. I think this card, like, 4-mana 5/5 is pretty good, right? But like, I'm actually kind of like not excited, but like I'm intrigued because it's a 4-mana 5/5 pirate, right? In Pirate Warrior. Like, great stats. And like I don't know how big the downside is, right? It's the big thing. So I definitely this is an interesting card. I will say let other people experiment with it first before you go crafting the epic, because it's a pretty high crafting cost. But I'm intrigued. I think this card might have potential. Alright, next up we have Burning Blade Acolyte. 5-mana 1/1. Yeah, it's a 5-mana 1/1. Why are you talking about it? Death Battle. Summon a 5/8 demon spawn with taunt. Wait, I have to see the art for this now. Shit, that art's sick. Yeah, so I'm looking at this card in something like, you know, that odd Death Rattle, Demon Hunter. Might want this as like a 5-drop that you pull with Demon Hunter. Like, it's maybe a consideration for Apothecary Rogue, right? Necroyum Apothecary. So a lot of people were thinking about like just running Scrapyard Colossus because it's a 7/7 taunt. This is a 5/8 taunt, but then you can actually like play the Burning Blade Acolyte. Like, it's not a 10-mana card. I don't know, dude. Like, this looks like a meme, and it probably is a meme. But like, I really want to play that Death Rattle Odd Demon Hunter, and so I'm really looking for like playable 5-drops that are not like Belcher. So I'm excited to try it out and see how it plays. Like, I don't actually know if this is that big of a meme. All right, next up we have Lushwater Mercenary. God, I love that. 2-mana 3/2. If you control a Murloc, gain +1/+1. So this is a 2-mana 4/3 Murloc. If you just play one of the, you know, the Mermies or the new 2-mana 1/2 Murlocs. Yeah, 2-mana 4/3. Yep, this card's good. Yep. Yep. Kindling Elemental. 1-mana 1/2. Battlecry. The next elemental you play costs 1 less. This could be any turn. You get to bank discount. Yep, this card's good. Yep. This card is also very good. Feels good, man. Kargal Battlescar. 7-mana 5/5. Summon a 5/5 lookout for each watch post you summon this game. Well, at this point, we've only seen 1 watch post, so let's go ahead and skip on over to the next 2. Crossroads watch post. 4-mana 4/6. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, give your minions +1/+1. Giving your minions +1/+1 feels like something you want in a board-based deck. And in a board-based deck, I don't really know that I want to play a 4-mana 4/6 that doesn't do anything. So I'm going to say no. And then 3-mana 3/5. Can't attack. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 2/2 Grunt. I was kind of excited for this card, and then I realized that the Grunts don't have taunt. So the watch posts probably suck in our format, which means Kargal pretty much sucks in our format, so it won't see play. So out of the 44 playable cards in Wild, 16 of them are like insanely strong, which is pretty high for like the first expansion of a year. It's pretty good, right? I think that's exciting. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys, enjoyed the card view and the thought processes that I went through today, evaluating all of the cards. And again, if you guys disagreed or agreed or really excited for some combinations that I might have missed, let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed the card review video, make sure you guys drop a like, comment, subscribe. It's one push of a button and it does support me a lot. And if you guys are interested, over this next couple of days this week, there will be tons of content coming out, including a ton of theory crafts for both the unnerfs that are coming on Thursday, as well as the huge expansion coming coming next week. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you guys hit the little bell notifications so that you guys get notifications on when those go live. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Later.